What's going on, guys? So we're here with Travis Wyman at Road Atlanta for King of the Baggers race. They've just wrapped up for the day. We just wrapped up an interview with his brother Kyle. So I want to ask him a few of the same questions and see if we get any different answers. First of all, thanks for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. So I noticed that there's been a lot of hate, like online as far as this goes, because people, like I'll see people comment on like Moto America's Facebook page, hey, this is the race that nobody asked for. But yet, all of the cream of the crop riders in your guys' class are coming from sport bikes. So it seems like if anybody would be mad at this, it would be you guys. But also the numbers, even, reporting outside of Moto America, the best views that they've had in a long, long time coming from this. So it all seems positive to me because more eyes, more money into the sport, which means it grows, it gets bigger, things get better. Can you see where there would be any room for hate in this?
Not really. I come from, the world of motorsports, and I love any form of racing. No matter what it is, I'll watch it if it's on TV. But I got a lot of friends that race cars, guys that race, supercross, motocross, flat track. I watch all of it. So it's hard for me to kind of understand where all the hate from. I had to stop reading comments.
Yeah.
So I really did. And I don't really even know where it stems from. But those are the people I want at the racetrack anyway.
Yeah, and so like your brother pointed out, I think it's the minority, because the squeaky wheel, makes the most noise. It's what gets the most attention. Because like I was telling him, dude, I never watched any sport bike stuff ever. But now that I've started watching King of the Baggers, I like watching other stuff too. And I've kind of fallen in love with the sport. Yeah. So it's attracting new people. Again, I don't see how this is bad.
And I give Moto America a lot of credit for kind of taking the jump. They've tried a number of different things to try and bring people from an outside, source to get people interested in motorcycle racing. I mean, they've had Tony Hawk and Half Pipe It actually at this track. They tried having a country music festival during one of our race weekends. They've tried a number of different avenues, and nothing's really shown the growth that this new Bagger Series has. I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, you and your brother both kind of getting in at the ground level and kind of paving the way, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you think about it, like, this might go down in history as like, hey, these were the early days. Like you look at motocross and Bob Hanna and people like that are legends because they were the pioneers. That's pretty cool, man.
It is cool. I think the thing that kind of gave me, like, goosebumps was when we went to the Harley Davidson factory and, all the guys that I looked up to as Harley Davidson factory riders in the flat track, grew up going to the races, getting their autographs and all that. My brother and I are part of that history now, like a new realm of motorcycle racing that the factory's involved with. And to see how many people do get excited about it, I think that's what makes, the haters and the naysayers, like, I don't even pay attention to it. There's so many people that are stoked that we're doing what we're doing that it just kind of brings you up and you don't really worry about it.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing, like you said, with Harley doing this is before the only path to being a factory Harley Davidson guy was to do flat track. There was nothing else to do, and now this opens up a whole new option. Do you see this being viable? If a guy wanted to have a career in road racing, do you see this, in the next few years being a viable way a guy could come out here and do this?
I don't see why not. I mean, the King of the Bagger series has brought along the Hooligan series as well, and look at all the manufacturers that are in that. Different, shapes and forms of people that are able to come out and race at a professional level. I think it's great. And even at the local club races and the track days, they have like a, Harley or Indian style, like, roof in the track days.
Yep.
So it's just overall just growing the sport and bringing people into it. And like you said, people that really had no interest in motorcycle racing at all, riding the street, to have fun with their buddies, go to a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're like, man, this is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and guys were already kind of doing this through their Harleys. They're already kind of making them fast, and guys were running Olin suspension before this came along. Obviously, it helped that Harley co-branded with Olin now. That's a big thing. But now you're kind of seeing more purpose-built machine, just like with the Road Glide and Street Glide ST. It's kind of given more of an outlet. And I've always preferred that, no hate, but just I was not a fan of the big wheel bagger thing. To me, that was ruining a Harley, and some people probably think what we're doing, chopping bags and lifting them up and all that, and doing it. But that's more my style. So this whole thing has made me very happy to see. Because like I said, now Harley's rolling out bikes that kind of fit that theme. You know, I'm not a stretch bag guy. I was surprised to see your brother running the stretch bags on there. He said he likes the look, but you know. Also, I talked to him about horsepower because that's, you know, that's kind of a big thing in the area that I'm in. Is guys want to show you their dyno sheet and talk about their numbers. I mean, there's a soft cell down there right now, 275 horsepower. Don't you feel like there's a point of diminishing return when it comes to power, especially when you're talking on a street bike that doesn't have the tires, doesn't have the suspension? Do you feel like guys are kind of building bikes working against themselves?
Yeah, but that's the age-old thing with anything with an engine. I mean,
Yeah,
I worked at cars with 750, 800 horsepower, and they have no business being on the streets.
very true.
But it's all about, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like I don't know if it's like one-upping your buddy or, you know, getting the next and the latest, greatest thing. But
Yeah.
power. It's like,
Well, if you're a true motorsports enthusiast, it feels good to have that.
of course,
Because, you know, hearing you make that point makes me kind of feel like a hypocrite because I have my eyes on that Ram TRX. That's 700 horsepower and a pickup truck that weighs 6,000 pounds. It's never going to be fast. It's just fast for a truck, but I want it so bad. Like you said, you don't need it, you know. Okay, that's a fair point. So now I feel like I have to walk back how I originally felt. You know what I mean? I'm trying to kind of throw some shade at guys, and you know, it is what it is. So we've seen Kyle's bike here. What are you riding on the street? What's your setup?
I've got a road glide as well.
Okay.
Actually, a Harley Nightster, a 2009.
Okay.
It's like my dream bike as a kid growing up. I saw it in a magazine. It had these like slash down exhausts on it. It was all blacked out. I cut that out of the magazine and I hung it out on my wall in my room. Finally ended up getting that bike.
Dude, that's so awesome.
I ride it maybe once a year. It's like just kind of like my baby. But
Yeah.
I do have a road glide now too that I ride.
Okay, cool. And what made you go with the road glide over the street glide?
It's what I race.
Yeah, so it feels familiar. Yeah, I get it.
I think before racing these big baggers, the road glides, I don't know if that was really like my market. I kind of like more like the street glide.
Yeah.
But now that I've had the opportunity to work with Harley and ride both, I prefer the road glide.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I asked too. Is one of the more controversial videos I made was basically saying, "Hey, these are the same bikes." And someone pointed out. I said, "Okay, King of the Baggers, they race road glides. They race road glides for a reason." I said, "We're not the Wyman. We're not going to notice that little bit of difference. You know, they say, oh, well, it shades, the wind moves you. Bro, if it's windy, it's going to move anybody. You know, it is what it is." But I've slowly come around. So I've had street glides, and I think that's still more my style. But I'm slowly warming up to that road glide look, where you see one set up just right, and you walk by, and that looks good.
And I think they've improved the look over the years so much. I remember when they first came out, you know, now, and then even what's coming in the future. I mean, I think they're just ever going to be improving the way these bikes perform, handle, and look based off of what we're doing.
Yeah, even just what they've taken from your bikes here, you know, with the STs having that more wrapped, smaller front fender, like that's my style. You know, my last street glide, I bought a V-Rock front fender, trying to retrofit it and make it work because I'm like, it looks cool, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, which makes me like it more. You know, like my side panels, I wrap with like my motocross race number. People are like, man, that's not going to look good. So that makes me want to do it even more because I like it. Like it stands out.
Yeah.
I don't want to just bolt on stuff that everybody's got and fit in with the crowd.
I think that's a good part with the new STs is they're a really great platform in a base bike, and you can from there, you know, modify whatever you want. You have a really great starting point. You don't have to buy a CVO to get the performance and the
Exactly. And me making the kind of videos I make, I saw a lot of people that were mad that the ST models were coming with the 117. It's the CVO needs a bigger engine. So we can't have a performance bike and then have a production bike that has a bigger engine. I said, there's a lot of guys that wanted that engine but didn't want the paint job. I'm one of them. I can appreciate CVO paint, and I've seen some that I love, but I wouldn't own. So I don't want to pay for that and all the chrome. I can appreciate it, but I don't want to clean it. Just give me the power. You know, like that's all I want.
They do offer a 131 upgrade kit.
Exactly.
You can buy the 131. There's just too many critics of it.
Yeah, there really is. All right, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you've had a long day. Again, thank you for doing that. Yeah, likewise.